would you please help me? And you know what? You know what happened? He gave me a new life, though. He didn't take this old flesh away, and he didn't take all the old nature away, because I still got some of that. And I'll tell you what he did do. He gave me enough of the divine to control the nature. And some of you, I've heard people come up and join the church, and they'd say, well, I'd have joined a long time ago, but it couldn't feel like I could walk it. Couldn't feel like I could walk it. Now, by God's help, you can. That's the only way you can do it. Is through the help of the power of God after the blood has cleansed your soul. Thank you, Lord.
Maybe if you feel like you'd like to stand and rest just a little bit. We don't like to think in terms of keeping people beyond reason. Sometimes folks feel like maybe they can just stand up, rest a little bit, and might help their feelings. So if you want to do that, we'll sing a verse of the hymn. My way go up here, precious Lord, linger here when my life is almost gone. Hear my cry, hear my call, hold my hand when I fall. Take my hand, precious Lord, take me home. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired, I am weak, and I am worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on to the light. Take my hand, precious Lord, take me home. Brother Ethan wouldn't feel bad at me. I would like to read just a few passages of Scripture. Connection and conjunction with what he has said. I would, when you go home, you take the time to read the complete and entire 24th chapter of the book of Joshua. I'd like to back up just a few verses and read this. That particular chapter, he said, it would seem evil unto you to serve the Lord. It seem evil unto you to serve the Lord. Choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods of your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. That rather expressed some thoughts there that will do well for you to think of. Going into the first chapter of the book of Luke, he set down these words. For as much as many have taken in hand and set forth in order the declaration of those things which are most surely believed among us. Amen. Even as they were delivered them unto us, which from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. It seemed good to me also, having had perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto thee in order, more verse. I'm reading more today than I normally do. I hardly ever read much. Once in a while I read a verse, sometimes a little more. Then he come on down in the book of Hebrews, and he set in thought the 5th chapter these words. For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God, and have become as such and have need of milk, and not of strong meat. Looks like in a way there's a whole lot of scripture we've read. I don't know how much of it we'll speak on. If there was just one God, and there was none other, you wouldn't have to make a choice. There couldn't be any to be made. The only time you can make a choice is when you have more than one. Scripture says there be lords many and gods many, but only one true and living God. Make a choice. I've said this before. Traveling from one part of the country to another, or one part of the world to another, you can make some choices about how you're going to go to get there. But when you're talking about going to heaven, there's just one way that goes. There is no choices. You either go that way or you don't go. This writer in the book of Luke says, for as many as have taken into hand to set forth in order a declaration of those things which are surely, most surely believed among us. Now for me to begin this morning to set in order what the Catholics believe, I think would be far out of line for me. To try to set in order what the Holiness believe. The Presbyterians, the Episcopalians, all the great number of different kinds of religious orders that we have in the world. I think it would be out of my authority and out of my really legal way of expressing what those folks surely believe among us. It's not up to me and my way of looking at it to try to find out what everybody else believes about the Bible. I think a lot of folks just read it to try to figure out how they can maybe put up an argument or a discussion or a disagreement with somebody else's religion. The only reason we're reading the Scripture is to try to put up some kind of an argument with somebody else's religion. It will not profit you and I much to read it. The thing that you and me need to understand is, what do we believe about this book? What do we really believe about it? Luke said to set in order the things that are most surely believed among us. The things that are most surely believed among us. Now, the writer said, let us walk by the same rule, and let us mind the same thing. There's not been anything strange to run into the thought and the idea that folks set different things in order. When I go to other organizations of people and other kinds of churches, I expect to hear what they believe. I expect to hear just exactly what that organization of people believes. That's the reason they are that organization, because of the things that's believed among them. That's the reason that you and I, if we're a member of the old Regular Baptist Church, that's the reason we ought to be a member of it, because we surely believe the things that are set forth among us. When you want real problems in a church, then get somebody that begins to believe something different. We begin to set forth different things among us, then we get into problems among us. Paul the Apostle even got into that in his day. He said, some of you say, I'm of Paul, and I'm of Apollos, and I'm of Cephas, and I'm of Christ. He says, is Christ divided? Paul died for you? We sometimes get getting down to the things that are surely believed among us. The things that are surely believed among us. There was a time in my life, before I was ever converted, before I ever thought about uniting with the church. I was just a young man. I believed with all of my heart, if you wasn't an old regular Baptist, hell would be your home, regardless of what you said about it. And I believed it just as strong as anything I ever believed in my life. Just because you and I believe something real strong, does that really make it so? Just because that you and I have decided we believe something that we've sat down and thought about, kindly looked over it and decided that's the way we'd like for it to be, and since we like for it to be that way, we believe it, does that really make it right? There's things that I've had folks to say, I've said this maybe briefly 8 or months before, I've had people to say I wouldn't change my mind about anything. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. You get enough evidence on hand that disagrees with what I believe, that this Bible will back up, and I'll change my mind. A man that won't agree to change his mind when all the evidence is against what he's a-doing, that man's in bad shape. Bad shape. These things are most surely believed among us. Now, Brother Adrian Hall got into a lot this morning. Now I want you to go back and look at the whole chapter. And whether he said, whether you choose to serve your father's gods, he put that in the plural. More than one. They had a whole lot of them back there. Or the gods of the Amorites, and where a country, whose country you dwell, they had a lot of gods there too. But when you start setting up gods of gold and gods of silver and gods of this world to serve, you've got a lot of trouble when it comes to talking about living in that country they call heaven. There's only one true and living God. All the rest of them are dead. There's other gods, but they're dead. Surely believed among. If I could preach this morning, the Lord would help me. Maybe you feel like this is a way out subject I'm getting involved on. Why am I this day what I am? Why am I connected with what I'm connected with? Why am I a part of what I'm a part of? There ought to be a reason in our lives for everything that we believe. There ought to be a good reason why we believe it. Give him a time. There's a man in this congregation this morning. I'm glad to see you here. Glad he's here. Way out in the west somewhere or another he maybe come from, and way up in New York. And the time he spent his life, he didn't even believe much as far as that was concerned that he was a God. You know, sometimes I heard just recently, maybe last night, they were speaking about folks called Jehovah's Witnesses. Most everybody's ready to slam the door the very minute they say, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I think about one of those fellows that was out in our country that was kindly learning how to get along as a Jehovah's Witness. And he went into a store that I well knew and acquainted with where it was located, perhaps knew some of the men that were there. One Saturday morning, he took some of his little gear and went into that store building. his name? Smith, last name. The man said, oh no, I don't want that. We've got the Bible. He said, got the Bible? The Jews had the Bible and they crucified the Lord. Now just having the Bible is not the answer to everything in your life if you're just going to say, well, you've got it. There's folks that's got one at their house that you ask them for it and they'd have to start hunting for where it's at. There's other folks that's got one in their house that's laid on the table that where you enter that perhaps hadn't been opened in months. There's other folks that have got them that have got the baby's locks of hair in them and a few little things they don't want to get lost. They figure they're not going to use that book much anyway. But just to have the Bible is not the answer if you're not going to conform yourself to what it teaches. I feel like this morning to start out to say this. Surely it believed among us that if you ever get to heaven, you'll have to be born again. Now surely that believed among us. And it seemed like after we get that message over, that's the one that some folks continue to preach for years and come and go. They preach the same sermon. You must be born again. Surely you must be if you're going to heaven. And if you're going to see the kingdom, you've got to be born. You can't see it without you are. And after you've been born again, I say you've got a child. You've got a child. Most of us folks that have reared up children in our home, you know the warfare that you really have with a child, not after it gets 15, 16, and 17, but the very minute it's born, you start having a problem with it. So many times the reason you do, you're trying to tell it one thing and it wants to do something different. So many times when you get a little child, the very thing you don't want it to bother, that's the very thing it starts wanting to get a hold of. And the reason it wants to do that, it feels like it's got a choice. It ought to be able to do some things that it wants to do. Now I tell some of these little fellers down here once in a while, you think it's hard down there, wait till you get up here. Yeah, the older you get, a lot of times the more difficult the choices become. The harder they are to make. That's the reason I've felt so many times that folks somehow or another have been touched by the Master's hand. And I feel to say this. Until you've been touched by the Master's hand, you don't see no need in making a choice. You don't see any need in it. As long as your eyes are just seeing the world and that's all they ever see, what point have you got in making a choice? You don't see a choice to be made. But after you've been touched with the Master's hand and you see there's a different life to live, then the time comes a choice has to be made. I don't know whether you agree with that or not, but I preach it anyway. A choice then is being made. You can't make a choice until you've got a choice to be made. When that choice comes, and the Lord has helped you to open your eyes to see, there's another road to travel beside the one you're on, then you see two roads instead of one. You see two roads instead of one, and I say then, that's when you're able to make a choice.
Preach it right
You
on.
can't make a choice until you've got one to make.
Preach it right on.
There was no need. Oh, I had folks, and I appreciate them to this day. From the depths of my heart, they used to see me when I walked the dark road of sin. They put their arm around me and say, Gerald, you ought to change your way of doing. Yeah, ought to change your life. You ought to live for the Lord. They saw the need. I didn't. I thought everything was going along well as it was. I I didn't have no problems and no troubles, and all was well with me. But one night I got a message from heaven that tore my life all to pieces.
Amen.
And I said, it is surely believed among us that you've got to have your life tore up before you ever see the need of having it fixed. I say this, the same thing that tears your life all to pieces will be the same thing that'll put it back together again. The same power that tore my life all to pieces was the same power that put it back together again. I'll say like this, when you get started into that, there's a lot of things, and I don't know whether you've ever gone bankrupt in business or not. As just a young man, I went into the service station business. At that time, it was a slow way of starving to death. And I finally went bankrupt. I lost every bit of money I'd put into it. I didn't have a dime to pay out of that business. I didn't have a dime to pay with. I had to sell part of the property I owned in order to settle the debt that I had. I went bankrupt. Well, it's not a good feeling to go bankrupt. It's a bad feeling. If you've ever been there, it's a terrible feeling. To see folks you owe and you can't pay. You don't have a thing to pay with. When I started out trying to settle my account with God, I thought I had a lot of things that He'd be interested in. I thought I had a lot of things that He'd consider. I was part of it. But I come to a place to where, I was totally bankrupt. I didn't have a thing that I could settle that account with. Amen. Not one thing that I could bring to settle that account with. What a terrible feeling it is when you don't have anything to offer that you feel like that's acceptable. Lord, it's a bad feeling when you get in that shape. And the only choice that I had was to go back down the road that I'd come up over. I knew what was down there. There wasn't no use to start that road again. That was sure destruction. But I chose just to continue on, to seek after that would somehow or another relieve the trouble of my soul. I think you've got a troubled soul. I don't know whether you agree with that or not. Brother, I say you have a troubled soul. And the only thing that you're really interested in, the choice that you could finally make, that would get all the trouble out of your life. You'd like to find the right choice to make. You would pray here, and you would think, if I'll go there, and maybe pray somewhere else, wherever maybe you feel like that you can get relief, that's where you'll go. And when you finally come and realize the only hope there is the God of heaven to have mercy on you, and you cry out. You don't see it, but you believe. You don't hear it talk audibly, but somehow or another He talks to you anyhow. And you cry, God, have mercy on me. If you don't save me, I'll never be saved. That's surely believed among us. I reckon that doctrine's believed among us. If the Lord don't save you, you'll never be saved. It'll take Him to do it. You can't be redeemed with anything except the precious blood of the Son of God. Then there gets to be, and Lord, there's time and I can't take it today. There's time I have to consider an awful lot of things. After you've been born into that family, where are you going then? Where are you going to travel after you have been born into the family? Now the choice is making. When I was growing up in the world, there was certain age the choices that I had to abide by was by my dad and my mother and my grandparents. They chose for me how I'd have to live. Well, if you're not your own, you're bought with a price. pretty sure you're here. Well, the first choice about everybody has to make after they've been converted, what church will I join? What church it I ought to belong to? What church it I ought to be a member of? And you know the reason a lot of folks are in the church they're a member of today. Dad and Mom was in there. That's all right if Dad and Mom was in one that I corresponded with his book, but if they wasn't, you better make a choice on whom you serve. Yeah, better make a choice. That man that wrote the book, there's all kinds of choices the world of mankind has got to offer to a child of God, and that's the real danger. The real danger that gets on hand. If you're dead to the world, there's no more life in that thing for you. If you're dead to the love of sin, there's no more life in it for you. And then the next thing the devil's got to offer you. I'd say like this. Now, folks put up a big argument about this. I've heard before a few people say the Lord called me to preach, and I took a Joni trip. The Lord never did have but one Joni. The Lord never had another. I heard a few folks say I took a Joni trip, but I never did hear any of them saying the whale swallowed me up, and 3 days later he vomited me out. Brother, it didn't happen to nobody but Joni. And one day, I want to tell you and me, Joni made a choice about going to Nineveh or going somewhere else. And I want to tell you of the choice that me and you make as a child of God. There's going to be, the Master's going to be around to see about what you do about it. He knows where you're at. He knows our thoughts are far off. He knows what we'll do about it as far as that's concerned. But the devil, I'm taking time, but the devil set up one of the most complete institutions the world of mankind has ever known in the religious field. Brother, they've got her all shined and polished. They've got it toned out to the very jot and tittle. They've got the church buildings. They've got the money. They've got the preachers. They've got the congregation. It looks like, in a way, there's a pile ahead of what the Lord got on hand. And I'm saying like this, but there was one little seed that fell in the earth, which indeed was the least of all seeds, but it became to be the greatest kingdom of all kingdoms, to the point and extent the power of the air came and lodged in it. When the Lord come here to set up the kingdom, it was the least respected, it was the least thought of, it was counted the least of all things, but it became to be the greatest of all kingdoms. When he got it finished, there's never been another kingdom that's ever been set out to me. It don't have no kings. It don't have no treasure. It don't have no border regions. It don't have a lot of things to control it with here upon this earth. But somewhere or another, it's the greatest of all kingdoms there is.
Yeah, he promised that.
Oh, Lord. The next thing that sometimes Satan hits you with, this man here is talking about making a choice this morning. You ever made any wrong choices in your life? I've made some of them. A lot of folks sometimes preach the doctrine, you get right with God and you'll never have no more troubles. But if that was the case, I'd be in a lot better shape than I'm in today. I've had a lot of troubles. I've made some wrong choices. I've said some wrong things, and I've done some wrong things. You say, Gerald, I will admit that before the Lord and before this congregation of people. Yeah, what the Bible said, confess your faults one to another. And he said, confess your sins to God and repent of the thing that you've done that's wrong.